Look at how all this is chopped. Chop, 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 chop. Moved. Chop, chop! Hey guys, Andy Pickering here. So today's video is going to be going back in time about 10 years to show you the method that I used to record most of my tunes with. It was only my fourth album, Bonafide, which I talk about a lot in these videos. That was the first one where I finally learned how to bounce and use the 4-track domain as like a whole thing. But before that, I was just filling up tracks, throwing them into the computer, and then filling up more tracks, going over some things, throwing them into the computer, and obviously then editing it all in the computer because it'd all be out of time. And, you know, I did 3 albums like this. So, yeah, I just thought I'd break down sort of how I did it. Now, the track in particular is called What She Knows. Now, this was a big track for me at the time. It was one that changed everything. It was a huge favourite. It was one that I put on Gear Space, formerly Gear Sluts, and talked about my method and how I recorded the song. And then, yeah, it just blew up. John Sebastian of Loving Spoonful heard the track and was very nice, and I used that in my bio, his quote. I got it published. I've had this song used on television, and also re-recorded it later with my band, the Telmos, but I'll talk about that at the end. We're going to go through the steps, but I'll just give you a brief overview of what the method was. So, I recorded a rhythm track on 4 tracks, mixed those as a stereo out, as a stereo mix onto the computer, then recorded that back onto a new pass of tape, but as just mono, and then did my bass, tambourine, organ, threw those into the original session, the original stereo mix, went back, recorded over those with vocals, backing vocals, and just kept throwing them in. And then I would process in the box. I'd have to do all really, really scrupulous editing because you've got to think different passes of tape, all out of time, so you have to just constantly be nudging everything in time. Now luckily that original rhythm track will always hold it together because that was all done together. And then my method at that time was I had a huge 24-track Fostex mixing desk, and I used to then send out of my interface as many channels as I could separately. I think I had 8. I had an M Audio 8-track one at that time. And then I'd do the analog summing, mixing back into the computer, recording back as a stereo file, mastered, done. And I just thought it was interesting to go back at how I used to work because I wouldn't even dream of working like this. I would never do that anymore. But it's more about like still getting the results based on just your limitations, your creativity. And that's what I want to get into. So let's have a look at what was on the 4-track and how I did it. And I'll speak to you in a bit. This consisted of drums on track 1, piano on track 2, and this is when I had a mini piano. It was a Kemble, literally a mini piano, but they're not great at staying in tune. That's the problem with mini pianos. But it had, you know, a cast iron frame and things like that. 3 was an electric rhythm guitar, and 4 was an acoustic. And I just wanted an explosive, energetic power pop tune. Drums, now can I just add about these drums here? These are the Abbey Road 60s drummer for the Contact player. So these are real drum loops but made in the box, and then I just played along. There's my little piano, electric, acoustic. Okay, so you get the idea. And like I say, that was mixed as a stereo left and right mix into the session. And then, as we fast forward past that, so I'm going to, you're going to assume that I've got a mix in my DAW session, and then I just did a mono bounce of that back onto here. There. And this is where I would do my overdubs. Now, I would have overdubbed a bass, overdubbed backing vocals, lead vocals, and every time I would do an overdub, I'd fill the tracks up. So let's say I did bass, I don't know, tambourine, organ. I would throw those into the computer, then I would come back keeping this original recording of the original stereo mix, and I would just keep then doing all my overdubs and keep throwing them into the computer. Now obviously the headache, and why I wanted to sort of explain how I recorded like this and how I think a lot of people still do, is that obviously the tape goes out of time, because this is never going to be exactly the same as the original, and therefore it's just constant chopping, moving and editing in the box, which is, yeah, a headache. Let's see. So I've got a vocal there. I think this is a backing vocal overdub. So, the bass and things like that have already been recorded over. I think she's hiding from me. There's a lead vocal that's left. Driving me mad. She will only come once in a blue moon. In a blue moon. Oh, and then we've got a double tracked backing vocal. Beach Boys. And oh, it's not easy, that's what I know. And yeah, so that's how I did it. And let's go and have a look at the DAW session now. The mono left and mono right just there, that is the original mix. So that's the original 4 tracks that were dumped in before re-recording that back into the 4-track on a new passive tape, and then constantly dumping in the overdubs. So then we've got bass, a bit of tambourine coming in now. We've got the vocals here. Oh, my PC's being slowed down. Bit of organ. Backing vocals. Piano solo. Which is a double tracked. Nice little vocal there. People laughing at me and call me a fool. Call you a fool. There's some plug-in reverb going on there. It's just what I do. It's just what you do. But yeah, as you can see, this is how it ended up, and you can see things are super chopped, and that is basically because of the tape, the overdubs on the tape. Look at how all this is chopped. Chop moved. Chop. Ridiculous. and I would not recommend recording this way. Okay, so that was the method, basically, how I did it. I'm going to play you out to the original version of What She Knows. You might have heard the Telmo's version, which is my band, and I've got a CD for sale of that as well, which is slightly off track of what I'm talking about, but there's two versions of the song, and I redid it with the band in an analogue studio in London called Toe Rag, which is, this is the benchmark for all my recordings. If you like the song, check this EP out as well. It's called How Quick It Goes Away, and these CDs are available on my Bandcamp, which the link will be below. Please subscribe to the channel. I got a statistic that 72% of all my viewers are non-subscribers, so I want to get up to 1,000. That's my goal. We're at 500 now, which is amazing. When I started doing these videos, I was at about 70. So, you know, it's growing and we're getting there. Follow me on Instagram, and again, Bandcamp link if you like my music. And catch you guys later. I'm going to play you out to What She Knows.